Hey guys, now that it's October, I wanted to do a video that really screamed Halloween. So what I'm going to do tonight is talk about some of the best things that I ever got while trick-or-treating. Now, I'm not talking about like the typical classics, like a individual Reese's Peanut Butter Cup or a FullSize Snickers. I mean the more unusual things, the stuff that really stuck out from the pack. Number 1, McDonald's Halloween gift certificates. So I am pretty sure that McDonald's still sells these, but the basic gist is that you could buy booklets full of coupons for free McDonald's food, like ice cream or the old McDonaldland cookies, and then you could hand those coupons out to trick-or-treaters instead of candy. I've seen people poke fun at these certificates over the years, as if they were like a lame thing to get while trick-or-treating. I have never agreed with that. To me, this was one of the best things to get, because every certificate that you got guaranteed you a trip to McDonald's later. Your parents couldn't deny you that trip if you had a coupon for free food. And then, of course, after they brought you there, you'd get them to buy you a Happy Meal and whatever else anyway. So getting one of those certificates, it was less about the ice cream or the cookies or whatever else. It was more about just having something to look forward to after Halloween. So like you'd get home from trick-or-treating, eat a bunch of candy, collapse in your bed, and maybe you'd be a little depressed because Halloween is over. But you knew, because you had that coupon, that a trip to McDonald's was in the near future. So yeah, not a bad deal. Thank you, Ronald.
Big Mac, McDouble, quarter pounder with no cheese, filet-o-fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, McNuggets, tasty golden breakfast, regular and larger size, salad, pepper, garden, or chicken salad, Oriental.
Number 2, loose change. All right, I have no idea if this is still a thing, but when I was a kid, you'd always have those couple of houses that gave you literal loose change. Sometimes it would be like 2 or 3 pennies, sometimes it would be a dime, and then if you were really lucky, a house would give you a whole quarter.
Give you a whole quarter.
Okay. A quarter.
And I'll give Audrey a quarter too, Audrey.
I'm sure some of you are wondering what was so exciting about literal loose change. I can explain this. My favorite part of Halloween, my absolute favorite part, was when I got home from trick-or-treating, spread all of my candy out on the floor, and just sat there admiring it. You know, trying not to eat it because I didn't want to like decrease the value of my stock. So I just sit there and stare at it. If I had a Polaroid camera, I would snap some pics. It was pure heaven. So anything in that pile that was different from a standard piece of candy, like say some loose change, really stood out, and it made the whole pile look that much more impressive. And look, I'm not going to pretend that a nickel or a dime was going to change my life. But on the other hand, if you got a quarter, you could do a lot with a quarter back then. You could buy a pack of Big Red. You could make a call from a payphone. You could get a vending machine capsule full of neon slime. You could go to a shady bowling alley and play Arkanoid. Man, not bad. God, I'm surrounded by really nice stuff right now. Number 3, trading card treats. Oh wow, so trading card treats were a really big deal in 1991. That's when they came out, and as far as I know, that's the only year that they were around, but man, they left a big impression. So they were made by a company called Impel, who at least used to be one of the very big trading card companies. And you gotta remember, this is 1991. That's the year when all of us kids were collecting Marvel Universe cards. That was the year when your frickin' grandmother was buying Desert Storm cards because everybody was convinced that they were going to be worth $1 million someday. Point is, this was a very big year for trading cards. The idea was that parents could buy these bags of card packs to hand out to trick-or-treaters instead of candy. There were 3 cards in every pack, and there were so many different sets. They had one for the Universal Monsters, There was another for Archie Comics. There was another for Marvel Comics. And then there was one for Widget. But you don't remember Widget. Nobody remembers Widget. Poor little purple Widget. These things had massive distribution. Like, they were sold in toy stores and obvious places like that, but they were also in CVS. Like, you go to CVS and you go down the Halloween candy aisle, and right next to the bag of the FullSize Snickers, you'd have piles of trading card treats. Point is, if you were trick-or-treating in 1991, there's a very, very strong chance that you got one of these packs. So one final note, the most popular set had to be the Nintendo one, which featured Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. And remember, back in 91, we still hadn't seen all that much Nintendo merch yet. So imagine being a kid in 1991, and you're trick-or-treating, and somebody gives you Zelda cards. That is, like, amazing. A total jackpot win. Number 4, full-sized candy bars. Okay, so these are obviously still a thing. In fact, they're probably more of a thing now than they were when I was a kid 400 years ago. And that's because between Amazon and all of the big box retailers, it's way easier in 2021 to get full-size candy bars cheap and in bulk. And, you know, if you could do that, why not? Because who wouldn't want to be a hero to all of the neighborhood kids? But back when I was a kid, 400 years ago, getting a full-size candy bar, that was exceedingly rare. And boy, let me tell you, when a house was giving out full-size candy bars, word traveled fast. It was amazing how we would just drop everything and run for the house that was rumored to be giving out full-size candy bars. Like, we would skip 30 houses just to get to that one house. And, you know, sometimes it would work out, other times it would be too late, because how many full-size candy bars can one house really give out on Halloween? So you get there and you knock on the door and you'd be like, please, please, please. And then they would open it and they just give you that look like, oh yeah, like you had to be here a half hour ago. I'm out of candy. And you just stand there staring at them and just hating them. Number 5, Marvel Treats Mini Comics. So between 1987 and 1988, Marvel sold these neat little 16 packs of mini comics. There were titles like Captain America, Spider-Man, Heathcliff, Care Bears, and if I have the story right, they were all existing comics that Marvel just shrunk down into these little palm-sized 16-page books. So these things were 100% marketed as Halloween giveaways, and you could just imagine what it was like for kids to go to a house expecting this little tiny piece of candy, and somebody hands them a full-fledged comic book. Wow. So each comic was in full color, and they even had mazes and stuff on the inside covers. I wish stuff like this was more common, because Halloween would have been that much cooler if we got random toys and knickknacks just as often as candy. So those were 5 unusual things that made trick-or-treating extra special for me as a kid. And, you know, I hope this video stirred up some memories for you guys too. And I will be back soon with some more videos. I have a bunch that I want to do in October. We'll see how that goes. But for now, just go watch a scary movie and eat a bunch of chocolate. Take care.